Hey, what's up, everybody? Adam Maness here, and today I want to talk about a super cool, super useful voicing technique that's great for solo piano. It's also great for any chordal instrument, vibes or guitar. It's great for arranging. It's great for composing. It's going to be, I think, very enlightening to us to work on this in the way that I want to work on it in 251s. So there is a PDF for this tutorial, so make sure to grab that. And everything we do around here is brought to you by OpenStudio. Go to openstudiojazz.com. To go on a deeper dive on all of this. All right, let's get to work here. So we would like to build some good sounding voicings on a 251 here in E flat. Now, of course, the 251 chords are based on root 3 5 7 structure, right? That's how we build any kind of basic chord. It's basically skipping a tone of whatever scale you're using, and you get the root, the third, the 5, and the 7. That's the bare bones of all of these chords. So if we look here, our 251 in the key of E flat, we have our 2, F minor 7, we build that chord, root 3 5 7. We have our 5, B flat 7, we can build that chord, root 3 5 7, and our 1, E flat major 7. This is the most basic version, root 3 5 7. We're going to throw in, of course, a lot of extensions, do some really nerdy stuff later on, but just to get that settled, that is what we're starting with. Now, we can build our chords like that and build our harmony off of that root 3 5 7, but did you know you can also build your root movement, your bass lines off of that root 3 5 7 structure? So here we have our same 251 in E flat, F minor 7, B flat 7, and E flat major 7. But some examples of some nice open voicings, very simple, basic open voicings, but with the different root note of each chord. So the root 3 5 7 as the root of each one. This is just a way to build it. This isn't where we're heading, but check it out here. Any one of these inversions is a legitimate inversion and structure of this chord. So you can have F minor 7 here, you can have it with the 3rd in the bass, you can have it with the 5th in the bass, you can even have it with the 7th in the bass. Same thing with our B flat 7. Nice little open voicings here. Root in the bass, you could have it with the 3rd in the bass, you could have it with the 5th in the bass, you could even have it with the 7th in the bass. And yes, for our 1 chord, our E flat major 7, you can have it with the root in the bass, you can have it with the 3rd in the bass. How beautiful, by the way, is that? You can have it with the 5th in the bass. You could even have it with that 7th in the bass, although we're not going to do that today because that is like that's pro level stuff. There's some landmines with that. So we're just going to land on one of the triad chord tones here when we go through our etudes on our 251s, just to keep it simple and keep it sounding very strong, where we know where home is. Very important always to bring your audience home, to land them in a safe, warm, by the fire, and you got a pot of something hot boiling over, and it's going to be very comforting. That's that 1 chord. Okay, so that's what we can do. Now, of course, we're not going to use them like this. That would be a little weird, but what's so great about this, knowing that we can build our chords with root 3 5 7 is the most bare bones version, but we could also use that root 3 5 7 as the bass note, as the root of the chord. Now we can make melodies with our bass lines. This is an old composer and arranger trick. You hear this all the time in, like, you know, old lush string arrangements of things. Those bass lines, that movement, it's a second melody. It's almost the very first counter melody to the actual melody, and we can come up with some really awesome, interesting things. And we don't even have to get that complicated at first here. If we look at our very first etude, we're going to keep it simple. No altered extensions yet, just very simple, root 3 5 7. I'm going to put 9s in there. We're going to add a little 9th extension for some of these, maybe a 13th on a couple, but just to kind of see what it looks like with no alterations, we can do this ascending bass. We can take the bass line, and because it can be either root 3 5 7 of any of these chords, we can make little melodies with the bass. Check this out. Let's play through this, a little ascending bass line. The bass line of this is going to move up with each 251. How beautiful is that? Our next one. You just get these gorgeous sounds. Next. And finally. I mean, come on. This is great. That's totally cool, but that's not all there is. When we can make melodies with our bass line by using that root 3 5 7 on whatever we do. Now we have all these options. So our first one here, right? We have just root for the F minor 7, but then for that B flat 7, we have its fifth, right? Staying on F. For that E flat major 7, we have the third in the bass. And then we can just keep going up. We have the third in the bass here on the F minor 7, the very next example, and then the root for the B flat 7, and then we just stay on that B flat so that it's E flat major 7 is over its fifth B flat, right? And then the fifth of F minor 7 down there on that second stanza to our B flat 7 over its third, that D, right? And then landing home. And then finally, check it out, even on that very last example, E flat, which is the seventh of our F minor 7, to B flat 7 with its fifth above, and then back to E flat major 7, landing home with its third. So a little walk up there. Absolutely gorgeous. We can do things like having ascending bass lines. I've been working through our Fred Hirsch course here, Thoughts and Experiments with Solo Piano at Open Studio, and he's just all over this in a very high level way. And so I thought we could do these very simple etudes. So check that out. By the way, check out the PDF. It has all of this and the breakdowns. Theory Nerd break number 1. So on the next etude, on the 5 chord, the B flat 7, I want to use the B flat 7 flat 9. And I want this to be derived from the B flat half whole diminished scale. So this is going to get us a bunch of juicy altered notes, right? That flat 9, that C flat, if you're a true nerd, the D flat, of course, it's got D natural, the third, it's got E natural, the sharp 11, which is super juicy, and then F, G, A flat, B flat, all these important notes, but really juicy notes. Not only that, but it gets us an extra bass note option, an extra option for the root movement, because not only do we have now the root 3, 5, 7, B flat, D, F, and A flat, but we can add in that C flat, that flat 9 as a root movement option, and it sounds really good. It especially sounds really good moving to the fifth of our tonic, of our E flat major. So when we resolve from B flat 7 flat 9 to E flat major, now we have the option of resolving that C flat to that B flat. Let's get back to it. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we have our 2, and we have our 5, which is that flat 9 based on the half whole diminished scale in B flat. So now we have that extra bass note, right? Which gives us some very cool options. So let's just listen through to this second etude, the skipping bass line. Gorgeous. We can make that root movement skip around here. Are you kidding me? Listen to that. One more. Okay, that last one is a little bit of a trick question because we're not skipping anywhere. But I just wanted to show you that even because we're all E flat here, we're all in on the key of E flat, just keeping this E flat on the bass. On the B flat 7, while we have that diminished scale harmony, it sounds beautiful. I just couldn't help myself there, so. That's what's so cool about this, though. It's really getting out of the mindset that the root needs to always move with that chord change. So let's check it out again. Let's break it down. So we have the root there of F minor 7, nice little F minor 11 chord, actually. And then we have that B flat 7, flat 9, right, with that diminished scale harmony, the 7th of our B flat 7. That A flat is in the root, and then we have the flat 9 there, that C flat, going to the 3rd of E flat major 7, and then check it out, the 3rd of F minor 7, and this is the money one right here. That flat 9, right? That C flat, or B natural if you're not a super nerd. That C flat of B flat 7, flat 9, going to the E flat major 7 over the 5, over B flat. That's something you hear. I mean, I remember that's Frank Sinatra's version of I Fall in Love Too Easily ends with this on the first chorus, and it's just like, it's so beautiful. And then on the F minor 7, starting on the 5th to the, listen to that shape. Sharp 11, natural 13, flat 9. Even with that 3rd double, damn, that's good. Up to the E flat major 7 with a root in it, and then finally the F minor 7 over its 7th, and we'll just do a little pedal here. Not part of the lesson, just part of life. A little pedal. Isn't that amazing? So much fun. So that's a little skipping bass etude. check that out. Next, I want to add the 6 chord in our 2-5-1. We're going to put that 6 in there because we want to get back to the 2 in a nice way here. So we're going to add, we could add a C minor 7, but I'm going to add a nice C7, flat 9, flat 13 kind of sound. Theory nerd break number 2, electric boogaloo. So for our next etude, we're gonna use the 6 chord. We're gonna use the C7 chord to get back to our 2 chord, our F minor 7. And I want to use a C7 flat 9 flat 13 sound, and I want to use a very specific set of notes to build our chord. I want to use the set of notes from the A flat major 6 diminished. Yes, that 6 diminished, the Barry Harris famous 6 diminished scale. And you know, sometimes Barry Harris calls this the scale of chords, and that scale of chords has 2 main chord shapes that makes up all 8 notes of the scale. That's an A flat major 6, A flat, C, E flat, and F, and a B flat diminished, the B flat, D flat, E natural, and G natural. And these 2 shapes act as like a 1-5 progression within the chord itself. Now check out that first shape, our A flat major 6. That's also an F minor 7 chord. That is where we're going. That's our 2 chord. And check out the second shape, B flat, D flat, E, and G. That's also like an E diminished, right? Which could be some really juicy notes from a C7 flat 9. So we're going to be playing a C7 flat 9, and we're going to be going to F minor 7. This is the perfect opportunity to use this beautiful scale to build our chord tones off of. We get all of the cool parts of E diminished, right? We get that 3rd, 5, 7 of C7 with that flat 9. And then we get everything too, some pretty notes from F minor 7 that feel very F minor-y. So it's really, really a great choice. Now, because we're using that E diminished shape, that important shape there is in that C7 flat 9, we also get that new root movement of that flat 9. That can be a new root for our C7. So we can use the flat 9 of C7 as a root to go to, say, the 5th of F minor 7. Just like we use the flat 9 of our B flat 7 to get to the 5th of our E flat major 7. Same thing here, any 5-1 like that, if you implore that flat 9 sound, it can resolve itself down to the 5th. Confused? I am too a little bit. Let's go check it out, see what I'm talking about. So here's our 3rd etude, and we'll break it down a little bit after this. Come on. Cheeky there. I mean, this is what being a pianist is all about, isn't it? This is why we love this instrument so much. So let's break this down, our little descending bass line. So we start on the root, of course, of F minor 7, and we'll go to the 3rd of our B flat 7, again, using some of that diminished scale harmony. We got the sharp 11, the natural 13, the flat 9 in there, to an an E flat major 7. Really, this is the E flat major 6, 9. And then our C7, flat 9, sharp 13. Our very first one here in our etude is over that flat 9 of that E diminished, right? That's part of that. We now get that flat 9. Going back here to our F minor 7 with our 7th on as the root to our, right? So the first time we went root to the 3rd of B flat 7. Now we can go the 7th, which gets us that nice thing there, right? Oh, it's so beautiful. Back to our E flat major 6, 9, and then our C7 flat 9 flat 13 rooted with the C on the bottom, staying on that for our next stanza, F minor 7 with the 5th on the bottom, our B flat 7 flat 9. Listen to that voicing with that flat 9 on the bottom. So beautiful. E flat major 9, and then our C7 flat 9. Again, taking advantage of that diminished chord, that E diminished chord with that B flat on the bottom. This is basically just, I got the E diminished chord with that flat 13, that A flat in there as well. Then our F minor 7, really basic voicing there. Our B flat 7 flat 9 with the 7th on the bottom. Our E major, it's really just an E triad add 2 there over the G. Our C7 flat 9 with the 5th on the bottom. Again, because it's part of that A flat 6 diminished scale, it's all good. F minor 7, couldn't be more basic minor 9 voicing, will drop 2 voicing there to our B flat 7 again, diminished over the F over its 5th, and then just take it home. Take them home. Let's go home. Let's hear that one more time. Don't get too sappy. Happy practicing.